Okay, so we've now moved to my favorite section of face drawing, and that is where we start working with charcoal and newsprint. So you're going to observe. Now, if you don't have it, of course, you can just use a pencil and paper, but you're going to want to, that's all I'm going to say, you're going to want to. So newsprint is literally like the paper they print a newspaper on. You remember those? That was so long ago. God, in my first career as a journalist, my first job was in like 1990. We barely even had a word processing system. We had people kind of paste up the stories onto the paper as part of layout. I know that just seems crazy now. So there's newsprint, and then we're going to be using charcoal, and I want to be very clear about what kind of charcoal we're using. So I'm going to demonstrate. This charcoal is a piece of wood that's been burnt. It's incredibly light. Could be willow. And as you can see, I can mark it and I can make marks on the paper, and then I can get rid of them. See that? I can kind of erase the marks on the paper, which is the real magic of it. If you're using a charcoal pencil, this won't work. See that? Charcoal pencil doesn't work. It also doesn't work for something that called compressed charcoal. So compressed charcoal you also don't want to use. It looks deceptively like my regular charcoal, except that it's heavier compressed. And you'll see it's quite dark and I cannot get rid of it. So you can see the difference between those things. You're going to be wanting to use a charcoal that's very light is easily erasable. Now, if there's anybody here who does not have a charcoal, you can do this with a pencil and paper. So just watch the first section. The measuring is going to be just the same. Listen to Jean. Just let me double check something. Yep. I listened to Jean and I got you. Look, I got you an old wrinkly man. So they're fantastic. It's a really fantastic thing to do in charcoal. And you will see that just like everything else, right? The halfway point is, oh, look at that, right between the midway point of his eyes, not below, not above. But if we go from the top of his turban down to here, this is the halfway point. And the bottom half will include, you know, the nose, mouth, in all the places. Let's see, we got one, nope. Oops, I just dropped my. If I go to the halfway point down here, so right, if I divide this into quarter points, 1, 2, whoops. Here, let's see, 1, yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you'll see some observations here. Let's make some observations here about these lines. The halfway point is where the eye line is, the middle of the eye line. But generally the same when we're looking at something from a straightforward face. The quarter point is kind of the top of his lip. So the nose is contained within here, but it is not at the quarter point. The nose comes above, about here. The quarter point up here is where his turban starts. So I think that's going to be really helpful, right? And then what's my next? Addie, what's the next thing I'm going to do? What am I going to do next in terms of checking measurements?
You need to find the width of his face.
Yeah, from where the halfway point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, I have another one of these. So you can see that he has 5 eyes across, 1 eye on either side. And I'm going to, looks like, I like to use a straight line for this. From ear to ear at the halfway point, it looks like he is just up here at the quarter point. Okay. So if you are using a pencil, you can go ahead and start. You could start by drawing your straight line down. If you're using charcoal, go ahead and take that charcoal, take the side of the charcoal and tone your entire paper with it. So what do I mean by tone? I mean, literally, I'm going to make it 1 or 2 shades darker. On a scale of 1 to 5, if 5 is dark and 1 is light, mine always has a little, I have little paint marks and things, so there's always a little bit of stuff coming through here. That's okay. It's maybe a 3. And you guys are not going to start drawing with your, so for those of you who are working with your pencil, of course, you're just going to do what I'm about to do with my eraser. Those of you who have a kneaded eraser, if you remember the kneaded eraser, you're going to start by drawing. So if you've got a pencil, you're going to be, of course, drawing a straight line here and marking the top and the bottom. Doesn't matter how big it is. You'll notice, obviously, I'm going bigger here. Proportions are what matter. The length of this line does not matter. You can determine it yourself. I'm going to find the halfway point. Let's see how right I am. Oh, down here a little bit. Yeah, halfway point. And then I'm going to find the quarter points. So what those of you who are working with pencil are doing, wait, 1, 2, 3. Just going to bring this up a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. So you see, I'm doing this with my eraser. Are those of you jealous? Oh, wait, come on. There we go. Come on. Sometimes when I get excited, which of course I am because I'm using my favorite medium, sometimes, let me try this. Okay, my fingers are so dirty. Oh, can't even get that from the, what? Come on, dudes, there we go. All right, let's try this again. Technical difficulties. There we go. Oh, much better. And then, of course, I'm going to define my halfway point as 3/4 of this line. So notice I get this. Let's see. I'll do this with a pencil. Pencil here. I can mark this edge. I can mark this edge. I can also see that these are equally the same size. I'm so nice, you guys. This is such an easy drawing. Let's see. So those of you using charcoal are using, now I'm coming back and checking it. Yeah, there we go. And just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yep, double checking everything. Okay, so show me your, and then go ahead and you can kind of mark where the bottom of the nose is. You can kind of mark in where the eyes are, where you think the eyes are. And then I'd like to see, let's see, I think the eyes are back there. 1, 2, no. Shit. That was, let's try that again. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. You kind of mark where the eyes are. Remember, the ear is like pretty much one length, right? The ear. And the side of the face is about right here. You can also mark that line out too. So let me see, before you get too into it, let me see your measurements. I'm gonna actually mark these a little bit with a charcoal just so you can see them better. So I'm going to have you, and you'll notice here is the edge of the face, kind of roughly, loosely. Nose is about here. Looks like the top lip is here. Yep. And the halfway point, the bottom lip is halfway in that last quarter. So that's kind of
I have ghost eyes from my previous drawing.
weird.
I think I can just work around them, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. But for the most part, you'll notice I'm kind of trying to get rid of the marks as much as possible. So we spend a lot of time drawing with our eraser, which is like super comforting. Wait. Hold on. This line is in from the edge. There we go. I'm going to send a picture over. I'd like to see yours. Okay. G, let's see. 2. Jean, check this quarter point. I don't think it's quite, it's a little too short here.
Which one?
The bottom one. Here, where I'm pointing. This quarter point looks off.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, so right. Actually, check all of them.
It's hard with them to get a good point on the, you know, on the charcoal to get a fine line.
You don't need to get a fine line. We're not there yet. Don't worry so much about that. The eyes, oh, I see what you're saying. All right, good. Okay, let's see, Addie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. Good job, Melissa. Let's see yours. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good job, Melissa. All right. So as we're starting, good job, you guys. This is great. So of course, as we're starting to sketch out, right? Let's start with the bottom part of the face. So I'm still using, if you're, yes, you're all using charcoal, so try using your eraser. See this? Careful not to go too far down there. Sometimes I have to go back up. line. And then I can see that the bottom of the ear kind of lines up with the bottom of the nose. So that's here. And then it kind of comes up like this and like that. Here, the ear comes up a little bit down. Now, I have a feeling I'm going to have to pull this in a little bit more, but I'm going to check on that first. I'm going to get all the other things in first. And then, of course, we've got the upper. So the turban comes out farther than the ears, right? On either side, if you go straight down, turban comes out farther than the ears. So the turban comes like this. It's kind of out. Comes out farther, right? Because the turban is I can fix that later. Doesn't look quite right. I'm kind of working around and then there's the bottom of the turban. And look at how sort of weirdly this ghost face is kind of already coming out. Isn't that trippy? If I want, I can get his neckline in here on either side too. His, don't worry about the cigarette, we can get all that in later. You can see he's kind of sitting forward. Right? Because his head is down, we can't really see his neck rising above his shoulders. His shoulders come up to his chin, his cheek. How's it feel to use charcoal?
In a while.
So great. Here, I'll take a picture of this. Oh. You're just gonna find, I think, number one, you can already see this toned just by getting the kind of outline shapes, how much more we get the sense of the person, right? Even, hi, Janet.
Hi,
Hey, Janet.
I'm doing another one of my brief pop-ins.
Yes.
Yeah, I told Leah. I told her I'm joining you. You've abducted me.
It's not, I can think of
art
totally worse fates than that. It's wonderful. Lucky you. All right. There's a couple more things we can do with our, what did I just do with my, I'm just, oh, there it is. And if you notice, if you feel like your thing is getting too dark, you know, just like silly putty, you can kind of stretch it. And then look, I've twirled it into like a little sort of pencil shape. So I can see, just like all the things. Okay, let's see. So the eye is like this, right? Nose is still lined up pretty much with the edge of the eye, with the inside edge of each eye, right? Top of the mouth, here's the quarter point, top of the mouth is here, this big dark shape, kind of in the middle. And then there's the mustache here. So the reason I've done this is so I can, let's see, so I can kind of line up my nose on this side, my nose on this side, right? So I know how wide my nose is. Then I can use my nose to figure out how wide my face is. Okay, yeah, I need to bring this in just a bit. Oh, oh. Damn it. Stop fighting me, materials. Right, so my nose comes here, my ear comes in. And even kind of sketch back in my dark down here. So I can get that kind of angular feeling as well. One nose on this side, in fact, ha, yes, even less, yes. So the edge of your ear should be one nose length on this side. It helps. So all this mostly still with your eraser. Let's see. So I'm going to take another photo of measurements. Don't worry, I have one more picture of this unscathed. But what I really love about this material is that everything's still very loose, right? I can change things. And because I've toned the paper, there's already a little bit of there's a little bit of stuff going on, right? It's a little bit of back and forth going on. So before I've even gotten into it, really, just using my eraser and trying to find my places. I'm getting it to the face much quicker. I'm thinking I'm going to take you guys to drawing 3/4 faces next week, which is more challenging than drawing a face forward face. But I thought we would do this one because it's so fun and you get your feet wet with charcoal before we really get going. If you want to, you can also, because he's got these very dramatic lights, notice you can erase them in, right? You can totally erase them in. So you can erase your lights in. There's this fantastic one. Notice there's a big space that's dark, kind of between his eyes and his brows. Like, so where his brows are, that's got to be pretty dark. Where else? We've got a little bit of light there, little bits of light here, tiny bits of light here and here. Right, we've got this really cool little space down here, a little bit of his mustache. Don't get too stressed out by that. That'll be like one of the last things. Look at that. We're already having a sense of dude without really doing all that much. And if I want to, I can also kind of get in some of the folds. You don't have to do everything. You're going to find about 1 or 2 of the folds. And down here, of course, he's His shirt is white and his skin is so beautifully dark. So this is going to make some. So look at what's happening. Already he's starting to kind of take on a little bit of shape. I'm not saying it's there yet, but I'm saying we're going to be able to get there. I'm just starting to, I'm going ahead of myself. Sorry, here, I will stop, take a picture. Addie. Addie, I feel like his eyes are floating too high up. Okay, bring him down. And I feel like look at the relationship of the ear to the turban, right? On both sides. Look at you've got the turban. Here's the ear. I'm gonna sketch it in so you can really see it, right? Here's the turban. Ear, turban. Look at that. You're kind of scrunching him in. You're boxing him in. Don't box him in. Oh, also, Addie, watch where your halfway point. Yeah. Yeah, just bring your eyes down. That will help catch you. Remember, my halfway point is here. It's in between. It's not at the top of the eye. It's not at the bottom of the eye. It's literally right. If I were to bisect the eye, it would go right through the middle. Right? A little bit on the top, a little bit on the bottom. Does anybody find it kind of freeing to draw with an eraser? It's like you're already like.
Bubbles likes it.
Bubbles likes it. Hi,
Yeah,
Mariana. Do you have newsprint and chalk and charcoal? Mariana, do you have newsprint?
I do.
Okay, great. So you're going to start by toning your entire paper with the side of the charcoal like this. And then you're going to do your first measurements with your eraser. Right? So we're doing all the same measurements as before, quarter points, right? This is 3/4 of the way up the face, but you're going to do everything with your eraser. So don't use this at all. If you'll notice, I'm just starting to get into this. I've been drawing for half an hour. Let's see. Ah, better, Addie. Better. Nice. Okay. Anybody else want to show me where you're at? Let's see. I'll show you where. You'll see I have almost no lines. The only ones I have are the ones I put in there to show Addie where to put her turban. I'm erasing them now. I've got virtually no lines. No strong lines. It's almost all done with eraser. Isn't that crazy? Look at that. It's like a person is slowly, I feel like this is how sculptors must feel. As their like person kind of slowly emerges. From the wood. I'd like to see 1 or 2 more peoples before we go further. 1 or 2 more. 1, 2. This one's coming out. I'm so excited I can't stop. Okay, stop. Let them catch up. Jessica and Janet, we totally love to see what you guys are working on. I know you guys are going to jet off in a little while.
Oh, I just started painting. I did a drawing last week, I think. I'm just doing a Holbein master copy.
Oh,
Do
lovely.
my master copy of the
Jean,
year.
too dark, too dark. You're not ready yet. Not ready yet. Just take your hand and blend it out just a little bit. And I'm going to check your measurements. Yeah, because there's a couple of, we're getting there. Actually, Jean, I just want to see, I want you to, don't erase anything, but I want you to stop and get your lights in with your eraser before you go further. Because I think that's going to help you place everything.
Okay.
Much better. Good job. There's some shaping that has to be done with your turban. You know, it'll help. I'm not trying to break your stride. I'm just trying to slow you down a little, just a notch. Okay. And anybody else? Oh yeah. Does anybody want me to keep going? Or do you want a time? Ah, Melissa. Ah, nice. All right, hold on. 1, 2. I'm double checking your measurements. Uh-huh. Looking good, girl. Looking good. I can see this medium agrees with you. So you too, just make sure that you look at the relationship of this turban, right? The turban from here, it kind of comes out. And on this side, it's like kind of way out, like the ear is.
Oh, I put it tucked under the ear. I have it in the wrong place, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, also observe this. So you've got this thing going on. You've got this happening like that.
Yeah.
Top. And really, here's the one. Now I've totally lost one. I have to erase that again. 1, 2. All right. So if I'm just double checking my measurements to make sure I don't mess this up. Okay. So here is the quarter point, right? So if you go from here to here, it's almost straight across and then up and then kind of over. Kind of there's a gradual lean up. And then this comes down at the quarter point on this side and on this side. Yeah, it comes like this. Oh, no, even lower. But it definitely comes past the ear, which is what I think is kind of mucking up everybody. That's okay. Now it looks ridiculous. All right, I'm just gonna, so notice, I'm like, I don't like my lines. I don't like what's happening. And observe how kind of easily I can erase them. And then there's this kind of tucked in thing. Yeah, there we go. That looks a little better. I'm not going to even deal too much with this right now because I'm focusing on the face, but I know I can't. All right, so here's the edge of my face here. I can see, now I'm going in with my edge of my charcoal, and now I'm starting to kind of delineate the features a little bit more. I'm gonna need to move to, we're gonna need to move to this guy so we can see the features. Right? So a lot of this is kind of dark, but remember, he's got this kind of very bright light forehead here. Definitely it's dark around the ears. It's got this kind of really strong jawline. Over on this side as well. Look at how I haven't even added any eye detail or anything, and look at how he's starting to pop forward. This is amazing to me, this process. Not even starting with his eyes, I'm starting with his nose. And the darks and lights on this guy are so great, right? Look at this shape here. How intensely dark it is, kind of right around the eyes and over the top. Look how I'm not even sketching in the eyes yet. I'm just kind of working around them with the bigger shapes. It's so kind of dark right in here. You can't really even see a lot of the lights of his eyes, except with a kind of very light. I can go back in and get more detail later. I can also go back in and get my eraser involved. Gene, super dark up here. Get there. Yeah. There we go. This is starting to look good. Yeah. So now you can start to get into. So we've got eyes. These eyes, the irises, which are pretty dark. Now I'm kind of moving away from the eyes down to the side of the nose. On this side, it's notice not everything is the same dark. He's kind of all dark down here, mostly dark, I should say. With little splashes of light. So notice how I'm doing a lot more kind of overall darkening. Quite dark here. A little bit lighter on this side. Remember that the mouth, remember where the mouth lines up. Still lines up with the corner of the, meaning the inside of the mouth, right? That still lines up. Here on this side. Here on this side. I know that the lip is kind of darker on the top. Kind of dark in there, and then it's kind of super, it kind of works. It's just like magic. everything that we've talked about with the face is like just perfectly exemplified in a very kind of wonderful, exaggerated way with him, which is what makes this such a great portrait to practice. It's dark under that light lip. Oh, now notice I got a little too dark. I can go in with my eraser and erase it back out. This side, things are a little bit lighter. Notice I haven't really added in his mustache yet. That's coming later. I haven't really pulled out his eyes very much. That's also coming later. I'm really kind of just working. And now I can kind of get in his mustache. I'm going to start by going dark. And then I'm going to erase it. Turn my little I don't have to do every little hair of his mustache. Just really need to work the areas where light meets dark. I'm going to add in his cigarette. His cigarette stays within the confines of his face, right? Doesn't like stick out further. And it's pretty light on the top. And I know that because it's dark around it. Notice how I'm just taking my finger in to create a kind of grayish color. It's less, it's like not as extreme, right? There's not lights everywhere in his face, but there's still light sides. And maybe add a couple of these. Let's add just a little bit. So weird. Crazy. And then you're back and forth. So I'm going to come in here with my kneaded eraser to add in the little light triangles, the tiny light edge here, this little bit of his upper lid here and here. Here. But it's much darker here, actually. Right, I can go back in and See how I can get that a little bit darker and then get really dark up here. I can erase out, pull out with the eraser, the light reflected edge. And if I make my erase line, my white lines too big with my eraser, I can go back in with my dark and kind of pull them in a little bit. See, like that. I pull them back out. Way too big. There we go. I can go back anywhere and make something lighter or darker. Like here, and here. I can see that around the edge here is a little bit darker. I can see down here. Usually if I'm not able to get something dark enough, that's because the area next to it isn't light enough. She should be constantly looking at the areas next to you.
Janet, we have 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave in a minute or two.
Tell me when you leave, I'll go with you.
Take me with you. Calgon, take you. Sweet. I'm gonna stop here for a moment. There's other things I can do. Give me just 1 minute, you guys. I'll be right back.
Bye, everybody. See you soon.
Bye. Bye,
See you.
everybody.
How's it going, everybody? Anybody want to be shown anything in particular? Anybody want to send theirs over so I can take a look?
How do you do his eyes in charcoal? I keep messing them up.
You're probably trying to spell them out too much, right? You're probably trying to do this and then this and then this and this and this. Notice how many dark areas there are. So notice how the lid, the upper lid just kind of runs in, right? How really, if you just actually, in truth, if you just start by observing the lights, you'll see how few there are. There's a little one here. There's a little one down here, right? So don't make them so solid. And then there's a little line up here, which is light. And it's easy to make it too big, so just pull it back in. It's mostly dark. Tiny little light areas. See that? So you want to not, you're really just pulling, start by, you know, you can just make the whole thing dark like this, and then start by pulling the lights out. Here, here, and there, and then darkening. Right, like that. As opposed to trying to draw the whole shape of the eye, because we can't really, because he's so heavily shadowed, we see very little strong lines of the eye. Right, if I add in this strong line here, it doesn't look right. It's really more like just a big shadowy shape. I go back in and
Charcoal's messy.
You don't remember this? Yeah, it's messy and also there's a blurry indistinctness about it. I really love. So Jean, you did the thing. I was telling you, it's looking good. Let's see, 1, 2.
Yeah, his face is too fat and short.
Yeah, remember to measure the nose. Let's see, maybe there's a problem. No, it's really too hard. The lines are too hard. Your lines are way too hard here all around the eyes. It's like you're just darkening in spots. His whole side of his face really is
Mhm.
all dark except for that shape. And the little tiny shapes in his eyes. So get darker. Still looking pretty good. Good. What's really important about charcoal, what charcoal teaches us is how the way we divide things in our head is just generally not that accurate. We have to like look at how shadows fall, right? And there are shadows kind of falling over a lot of this dude's face. The separations aren't as easy to define. Quite simply because you just don't see as many, because the shadows are so dramatic. He's mostly dark, and you've mostly got that dark in there. Well, all faces really are a lot more dark than we think they are. But observe, the measurements are pretty much the same as with any person. You're doing better. Everybody see this. Let's stop and I want to see where you're at. Take a picture. Stop and take a picture. Mariana, send yours in. These are looking good, you guys. Really, really good. I'm going to tell you again, Melissa, remember, where is his nose in the 3/4 mark? It actually comes above here. So you're letting his features kind of drift down a little bit. This is the 3/4 mark. Let me mark it with something that's really visible. Here, like blue. Here's the 3/4 mark right there. Nose is above. The 3/4 mark here is where the top of his lip is.
Okay.
So be careful not to let, and also, Melissa, I want you, these are looking great, by the way, you guys, they're looking really good. I want you to observe that you need to bring more dark in, right? His eyes, if you look at these closely, there's very little white, right? Just teeny bit here, not this big wide swath that you've got here, right? It's teeny. So you need to bring your dark, and this, it's actually dark under the eye. The light part is here, right? The light part is here. It's only these little teeny tiny shapes. So you're still thinking about the eye as this separate thing. In this particular piece, we can only see little bits of white. Over here, virtually no white. On this side, teeny tiny bit of white, right? All of you guys could probably benefit from that, but these are looking good. Mariana, not bad. I'm checking your proportions. Hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, good. Good. Looking good, honey. I can see this is working for you. Look at the lips. They are not, remember, the lip is dark on the top. It's light on the bottom. So look at, it's underneath the light part of the lip, there's a dark part. So the shadows are really going to help you shape the features. You guys are getting it though. Everybody's doing well. I think this is easier. I think charcoal is easier, quite frankly, than pencil, because you can kind of cut these wide swaths, right? And because you can erase so easily.
A question for you, Leah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do the mustache by doing like trying to do it with the pen, with the charcoal pencil, like one?
No, I did not.
No.
Does it look like I did?
No, I cannot see well, really. It's a little bit blurry, but.
Well, no, I didn't. What I did was I made it dark.
Okay.
I'm working the edge around where okay, let's see if I can break this down. I basically just made it light.
Okay.
And then I started working around the edges where the dark meets the light.
Okay.
Outside edges. See how much that kind of conveys? I don't have to draw, right? Just kind of working around the edges. I was just starting to kind of get there. The charcoal should start to feel, see how you're starting to get a sense of mustache? I can go back in and erase, but really I'm working the light shape. I'm not doing every bit of mustache. See how that's starting to come together? I'm really just working around the edge, the dark edge of this light mustache area. It's a little bit lighter in here. It's kind of darker and bumpy here. Kind of comes in like that. And then I don't have to do that much. I don't have to draw so many things. Good question. Now it looks like he has a mustache, but I have drawn virtually no lines.
Another question for dummies. How do I clean the eraser?
You've got a kneaded eraser.
Yes, that one.
Stretch it.
Okay.
Stretch it. And you can shape it too. So if you're wanting to work on your whiskers, right, on his whiskers, you can actually shape it into a little point
Okay.
and see,
Oh,
right?
yes.
It's the magic. And then look,
Yes.
see, now it really totally looks like he's got a mustache, but I maybe just put 1 or 2 in.
I got it.
Yeah. Also, this is good for things like here. Right? When you want to make little lines. Yeah. Isn't this a fantastic face? Love this face. Great questions. Keep them coming if you've got it, but you guys are coming along here. Everybody's doing better. I think it's because you're starting to get a sense of your measurements are getting better. And also, I think this medium is suiting. This medium is and this subject are kind of forcing us out of our normal thoughts of eye, nose, mouth, chin, because the nose and the eyes and the mouth, they're kind of emerging from the darkness because he's in such shadow. That's really fantastic. It is indeed messy.
Llegó la abuela.
My fingers are so dirty. Coming along, Jean. So Jean, once again, do you see those white shapes the way you have them around his eyes? Look at them. Look at his eyes like super closely. Do you see
No.
these? Okay, so come on. But he's like, but on the plus side, I'm really liking how the face is shaping. Look at how, like, I mean, yeah, anyway, start by getting the darkness that needs to be, looking at the real white shapes. You're coming along. Look how easy it is to kind of erase and go back and fix things.
I like his mustache though.
Everything about this guy, fantastic face. Great face. And I can tell you guys are getting. Addie, for some reason, this is in sticker. Yeah, thank you. So Addie, his face is too wide. Remember? His face is too wide. So you just drifted a bit out. Remember, the size of his nose, it should be one nose length from the end of his nose to his cheek. It looks okay on the right side, but on the left side, you're like way out here. That's why he looks so fat. So you need to bring that, you need to bring in the cheek, and then you can, but it's coming along. I'll be right back, you guys. So also, Addie, one of the things I want you to observe, and this is one of the reasons I like this picture so much. Remember how we talk about how the light isn't all the way to the edge of the nose? So you can really see that here. I'm going to take a picture. Right, there's a little light edge here and here, but really the whole bottom of the nose, which is really tricky to see, is dark. I think this will help you understand kind of what's going on. Let me take a picture of that now. So you can see the top and the sides. Oh, Jesus. My poor octogenarian kitty, Muka, she's 14, which is like, I don't know, 87 or something in cat years, just had like, I don't know how many teeth cats have. She only has 6 left.
Oh,
Everything else has been taken. It was completely rotten, has been taken out. And she's just like, yesterday, poor little thing. She's just resting but I know it's probably better for her. I know it probably doesn't feel great now, but like the vet said, yeah, she said, normally this is the kind of thing you see in dogs, cats. Everything was so rotting. Poor little kitty. She just has bad teeth. Now none.
poor.
6, I know, 6 teeth left. No ability to chew anything. Lots of stitches. I love how these demos always have at least one disembodied eye just floating out of nowhere. Like, let's see. Melissa, looking good. Jean better. Look at it, Jean. Look, I'm gonna take a close-up picture and I want you to really look. If you don't really look, I'm gonna turn this upside down. Want you to look at the white shapes. Actually, look at the white shapes. There's no dark line under here. It's just a tiny little crescent on this side and a tiny little crescent on this side.
He's got a white patch under his right eye.
Those are looking
left.
better, well under the eye. There's a dark patch here. There's a tiny little, but look at this shape. Look at, you can barely see it when I cover it up. I want you to really look at the shapes. Better, Addie. Do you see how the nose is starting to look more full? And his eyes? I'm going to tell you the same thing I told Jean. This is basically all dark, right? All dark. And just this little tiny bit is light, little tiny bit is light. I can't see that dark line because everything is dark. Good job, you guys. You're killing it. Honestly, you're doing great. I think what this really does,
online is also
oops, sorry.
but we'll be getting a little bit right now.
I think what this really does, this exercise really does, this medium, is that you'll see it's less about lines and more about how big, dark, and light shapes interact. So it's the same question that Mariana asked, right? Instead of drawing a million little light lines here, I am creating a light area and a dark area. And then I'm only creating sort of edges where light meets dark, right? We're only really working on that. And when I do that, I create the illusion of dark everywhere. Here, I'll do it again so you can really see it. See, right? This is just a light area, right? That's all it is. Now I come in here on the bottom, right? Like this, because it's kind of a little bit edgy here. All of a sudden you have more of a feeling. I come in along the top, right? With a little bit of dark. I've pretty much created a feeling of depth. And then I can come in with my little pointy, right? I'm making this into a little pointy shape here, right? I can come in and maybe do one or two. And then I have a feeling of mustache, right? White mustache over dark skin. I think the thing people see is the light, but they don't see the dark that's underneath it. So notice how little I'm really and then I can just add 1, 2, 3, right, little streaks. And then it, no, that doesn't look good. Too much. Really, the way more important shape is this one that I'm getting in. And then kind of what this one is doing next to it. Whoa. I don't know if you can see this, but on this side and his neck, there's a little tiny light area that kind of defines the side of the neck, but way too big there. So I get that in and then I carve it back. Darken everything everywhere else, right? And I can add in this here, this up here, and add this line in. The lights are almost the last thing you put in. Yeah. Oh yeah, Addie, it's coming along. Coming along. So now go ahead, Addie, and try that thing with the mustache, right? Where you erase out the mustache, leaving a little bit of dark lip on the top and on the bottom, and then you kind of color in the edges. Try that. He looks like he's, because we haven't done anything, he looks a little like he's wearing a beret, doesn't he? When you get to this point, you can start adding in some of the, you don't have to draw every line, right? But kind of look at where the major folds are going. look at where there are darks. Use this same principle that we've been working on to kind of get your dark and your light shapes. Fabric has a lot of structure to it, so you'll use more kind of strong lines, right? Like here. You don't have to draw everything, but draw like 3 or 4 lines. Look at where you can see kind of significant light and darks. You don't have to get in everything, but just a few. Let's see. Oh yeah, Jean, there you go. See, now it's starting to look like him. His cigarette's a little longer. Notice how it extends almost here. And also yes.
But it was easier to make it my way.
Since you're working on it, look at the shape of his face on this side. I think you need to come, but it's looking good. It's coming together. Oh, I see the problem. Jean, look at you've gone like this.
Uh-huh.
Okay, the shape of his face is down, straight and in. You've gone like this. This is how you've drawn his face. That's not the shape of his face.
Well, I keep,
No.
well, it's different on one side than the other.
No, not really. It's straight and then it bends in. Straight down and then it bends in like a Y. Come on. Look at this shape. You're too close to let this go. It is not different. That's what's interesting. I know you think it's different, but it's really not. I mean, he's turned a little bit more so we can see a little bit more of his ear, but the same thing is still happening. There's a hinge that happens at his jaw. It's not curved. There's a serious structure here. It's kind of wrecking what could be a good drawing, you know, and also more ear. So look at where the side of the face comes in, right? This is the side of the face. This is the shape of the ear, right? You can't really see a lot of it, but this is the side of, that's the shape of the face. I like how you handled his turban.
I think.
So you don't have to do that much. Take your eraser, do a couple of erases, a few lights. All right, you don't have to do that much.
The really dark at the bottom left is not charcoal, that's inkling.
Oh, that's starting to look better. Now carve in, right? See how much better that looks? Oh my God, so much better. And then look at this shape, right? In relation to where the jaw is. You'll be able to reshape so nice. Oh, it's a little bit of inkling pause. Look at how much better that looks immediately. Just by fixing the shape of his jaw, little shape. He's sitting on your arm, isn't he?
He's standing on my lap,
He's
leaning
on your lap.
He leans on the table. So working around him. He doesn't sit on my lap, he stands on my lap.
He stands on your lap. So I have to confess, I've done this once before. I just taught face drawing to the Europe group. And I use this one. Normally I try to pick a different subject, but I love this subject so much. I was like, I have to give this to you girls.
Oh,
and you're doing great.
It's a great face.
It's a fantastic face. And everybody's getting way more nuanced because the nature of the darks and lights are so extreme, people are getting way more nuanced about his, you're getting more of the detail, the sort of overall feeling of the face because there's less that we can see of it. I totally screwed that up. See, this is why I shouldn't have even touched it. We're really paying more attention to the overarching kind of sweep of things, how these features kind of bleed into each other, you know, play off each other way more with this face, which is what makes it so fantastic. Yeah, everybody did really well in the last class too, just like you guys are doing. You're all doing great.
Charcoal is easier to work with. More
It's
messy.
much easier to work with. Is anybody like, yeah, what is your impressions of charcoal? Melissa, what do you think?
I don't know. I think it's kind of hard. It's harder.
Are you finding it harder?
Yeah.
It can be harder in the sense that, that's looking better, Addie. I like what you did with his neck, those marking on the neck. It's a new medium, so it applies completely differently than the pencil, right? So every time we shift mediums, there's this adjustment that has to happen where you have this whole set of expectations about what your material is going to do. But do you find any bits of it easier, like easier to erase, say?
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like retraining my mind.
This is great, Melissa.
Really, I don't like it as much.
Really, it's my favorite face that you've done. Absolutely.
Really?
Oh yeah. I would say, I think you should do the same thing Jean has, which is you need to nip it. So you're a little bit out, like, so you're a little bit wide down here.
Yeah,
right?
I'm
You're
a
kind
lot
of
wider.
So just come in here and nip in that, just try and reshape this. No, absolutely. This is one of the better, I think this is the best piece you've done in class.
Oh, okay, I'll take it. I'll take
But
it.
you're probably feeling like,
I hate it. Yeah.
oh, it's so interesting. Show it to your friends.
Okay.
Girls, what do
I
you
feel like
think?
he's too dark and like,
He isn't. That's how dark he is.
but I feel like there's too much shadow.
There isn't.
No. Okay.
That's your left brain fighting what's actually
I
happening.
know. I feel like that's it. 'Cause I feel like he's so dark and I try to lighten him up a little bit.
Yeah,
and it's
don't.
like-
He's not. That's the way he is. All right, Jean, my last suggestion to you, get the dark underneath his nose more.
Okay.
Yep, all the way across. If you remember here. Yeah, you're just fighting what's actually there. I love it. You're like, I'm trying to make this less, and it totally is not, because he, in fact, is dark like that. And in fact, all the faces are darker like that than we think. I think it's beautiful.
Thank you. I'll take the compliment.
Yeah, and so but I'm not surprised, because this is the first time you've used this, right? This technique. So it is bound to feel weird. But what I want you to observe is that it's easier than you think it is to get that. The less detail you have, right? And the more you pay attention to these shadows, the more you get the shapes right.
Yeah, Lisa, it puts me in the mind of shadows, which kind of like changes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right,
changes
shadows
the
come
wire.
across things, right? They come across things. We can't even see his eyebrows. Right,
Yeah,
because the
exactly.
shadow is cutting across the eyebrow. Like the top of the eyebrow is right here. That's all we can really see, because this whole area is so shadowed. This whole, right, by the way, what direction is the light coming from? Can you tell?
Coming from the right.
Yep.
The light.
Right, you can see it really clearly, right? So that's like the great, anyway, your left brain just thinks it should be harder.
Yeah, I know. I also feel like it's kind of different because you're usually shading in instead I'm trying to take light out.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, that's the mental shift, right? That's the big
Yeah.
mental shift. It's a different way of thinking. It forces you to think in shadows because you're taking the lights out first.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still measuring, right?
Yeah.
But we're taking the lights out first. For me, Melissa, this is the moment I said, okay, I can learn to draw. The moment I was allowed to do this, I was like this, because this is a very painterly way of, this is how painters deal with drawing. Like deal with drawing. It's all like sort of shape. Painting is all kind of about shapes and darks and lights. And when I was working with a pencil, I just hated it. I just hated the pencil. It did not do anything like what the paintbrush could do. This is a little bit more like how a paintbrush works. So it is very different. It's totally different. And when you adjust to it, I think you might really love it. It certainly is suiting you. What about you, Mariana? I know this might be the first time for you too, using charcoal.
Yes.
How do
I
you-
think I'm struggling with the mess. I'm sorry. Yes, I think
You don't have to like it. You do not have to like it.
Yeah, I like the result. Okay?
Yeah.
But the process. Maybe I need another place for doing it. Yeah.
Yes, that is absolutely true, right? That's not the fault of charcoal.
Yeah.
It's like the world of it,
So
right?
I
Yeah.
like try to do
It is
something, but I do
messy.
the opposite.
It is messy. It is messy.
Yeah.
There's no question about it.
But the
Right.
result is amazing. It's
The
amazing.
result is amazing. It's so much, right? Because you can get to the lights and stuff. Because if you think about it, the face is really this series of light shapes and dark shapes with little light pops coming out.
Yeah,
There
we
you
couldn't
go,
get
Jean.
this dark with pencil.
You can't. And even the very concept of, I think, Jean, the biggest issue, the only real problem left is that his eyes are just a little too, no, wait.
To what?
I was gonna say too wide, but they're okay now. They're okay. Looks really good. I like how you got like this kind of medium hinging into the dark, hinging into the light shape, right? It's so much easier to see these as dark shapes.
Mhm.
Yeah, Addie, there you go. Now we're getting there. This is looking great. How do you like it, Addie?
How do I like charcoal or my drawing?
Both.
I think my drawing turned out good, and I like it.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about charcoal yet, because last time I used it, I was not very good at it. It was
You're doing much better now.
pretty messy, and I feel like I get a lot of fingerprints in it.
Yeah,
Because
it is
the
true.
drawing,
It's easy
and
to
then
get
just
it.
rubs away other parts of the face, and then you have to like redo it.
Yeah, that's true. However, it's quicker to redo, right?
It is.
Yeah.
So I guess I am enjoying it.
Yep, yep. I think so too. Hey, Jean, get dark all the way up here on the
Okay.
side of the sheet. Let's see yours, Mariana. One more little set of tweaks. I mean, these look pretty dang good. There's no question who we're drawing, right? You may or you may have not have gotten likeness. Likeness is something that takes a lot of practice, you know, where it really looks just like the person, but at least there's no question that everybody here got this sense of, oh, and Jean, one more thing that I think will really help.
Mhm.
His neckline is too narrow. So look at this, right?
Ah.
Yours is kind of in here. That's going to help a lot too. To kind of, actually, it's really just coming straight down.
Yeah.
We'll work in charcoal for a while, but if you don't want, oh yeah. Mariana, yeah.
I messed it up. I messed the mouth, trying to do the
No,
mustache. is
you
kind-
got it. You got it. The mustache looks great.
Yeah, but I
The
messed it. I
biggest
messed
thing
it.
the biggest thing that you can do right now, Mariana,
Uh-huh.
really get the shapes, the light shapes around the eyes right, because right now they're too, this is not light at all. This little triangle, look at the shape of this and the shape
Yeah.
of this and the shape of that. So spend another 2 minutes just trying to shape those and then you've got it.
Okay.
Okay, you've got it. This is great though. Obviously, it's like a fantastic result. So, and I'll talk about for a minute, I've got to plug in my computer here before it conks out on us. There's fixative. I'll show you how that works, which can actually fix your drawings. I mean, there's hairspray, but who has that around anymore? Does anybody have hairspray in their house?
I do, but it's only for drawing. I don't.
Yeah, it's
use it
only for drawing.
I use it for my pastels.
Exactly. You do need to tell Marie that you're gonna really miss her. It's a good thing to do. These are looking great though, you guys, really great. Good job. Mariana, it's fantastic. You may think it's messy. You better find yourself another place to work because the medium is totally suiting you. You too, Melissa. So whatever you think, it's really helping you guys get to the place fast. This is also why I like to switch. I like to switch up mediums. Well, I'll be working in charcoal, and you're welcome to stay with charcoal or go back to pencil. If you don't want to stay with charcoal, you don't have to. But I could see the value. Next week, we're going to start working on faces that are turned, which is a whole other thing.
Faces that turn. Oh my God.
It's such a pain.
How do you do 5 eyes across when they're turned?
Yeah, you know, it's similar. It's kind of 5-ish eyes across, but you know, the whole one side of the face is one way and the other side of the face is something else. I'll show you here. Let's see. Yeah, there you go, Jean. Yep. Looking great. Looking really great. Let me see if I can show you. I have it in my fixative around. Hang on, let me see if I can find it. Here. So I actually have. Yep. Okay. So there is this stuff. Because you're absolutely right. Your drawings will like pick up. I mean, this is absurd. It is messy. So there is this stuff. Right? Or hairspray. We'll do the same thing. Not the pumpy kind that does little spritzes, but something that like. So this will fix it. Notice everything's a little bit darker.
Yeah.
But it will fix it so it doesn't shed. So it'll fix it to the paper. I have to wait for about 3 minutes until it dries. Here it is. I'll send a picture across. So yes, the last thing I'm going to do, and I'll show you this in a second. I'm going to add a spotlight here. So this is one of the things you want to think about as we're going to faces that are turned. Can you all see that like my pencil is going directly down the middle of my face? Can you see that? All right. So when I turn, sorry, it's really like confusing to look. So when I turn, what happens to the side of my pencil hasn't moved. It's still in the half side of my face. But look what happens to my face.
That side got small.
Yeah, this side, which is totally equal to this side. Right? When you're looking at me face forward, look what happens when I turn it around. Just a little preview for what will happen next week, right? Like at this point. And you actually treat the half of the face that's turning away from you totally differently than you treat the half that's looking at you. So that's turning towards you. So that's like the confusing thing. And this is the thing that nobody knows how to deal with. The other thing is what to do at the back of your head. No one ever seems to figure that out on their own. What's happening with the back of your head. So these things, right, become, look, the mouth, it's insane. Wait. Mouth, nose, eye, They all are kind of like slanting up and getting smaller. Isn't that crazy?
It is, right?
Welcome to the mind, Mel. What a perspective. So we'll start to talk about it. Don't worry, it's hard, but it's no harder than anything you guys have been doing now. So you're now adjusted to this idea of measurements. I'm going to keep working in charcoal just because I love it so much. You can choose to stay with charcoal or go back to pencil. But I see that everybody here, like, you'll see. Oh, so here's one finger that is not dirty. Look, it's still not dirty. So now that my fixative has dried, this no longer. I can do that. I can go all over it, right? That no longer goes. So fixative helps. And I'll take a picture of it and send you over what I use. Charcoal. Charcoal is also a really common thing that painters will use, although it's interesting, I don't use it very much. I just use paint to draw with my paintings, but here, oh well. Anyways, let's see here. I'm gonna take a picture of this. There you go. So really great work. Ladies, the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to remove my spotlight. I want you to go into gallery view. And I want you to hold your drawings up so we can see them. Hold them up. Hold them up. Damn. Fucking fantastic. They are fantastic, you guys. Look at you. Look at what you are doing. It's amazing. Look at them. Hold yours up. Like, look at each other. Like, hold them up. It's amazing. Isn't it amazing? Look what you did. You got an old man with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth and a turban on his head. Great work, everybody. I'm real proud of you. You're doing great. You're motoring fast. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Leah.
See you soon. Take care,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Wonderful, wonderful work.
Thank you.